And there we go with that. And I'm going to get us live on GCPR. And okay, can you all hear me now? Nice. And Ava is here. Yes. So if you want to fix your names, fix your names. Let's rename you Evie.
Hi.
Hey, we're about to start here. You're right on time. So we are going live on the radio, and then we're going to be live on, we're already live on YouTube. So here comes the intro.
I'll give you the hair tie right off of my wrist. I'll turn it up if you play Taylor Swift. I'll gas you up when you're acting unhinged. If you're done, if you're pissed, I'll help you burn down a bridge. I'm an always got time for my girls, girl. Wherever you are in the world, girl, I'll be right there when you call me up. If you need to cry or wanna get drunk, I'll be your number one hype girl. I got your back in a fight, girl. Round after round, I'm always down. There ain't no doubt I'm a girl's girl. Yeah, there ain't no doubt I'm a girl's girl. Hey. Woo! Round after round, I'm always down. There ain't no doubt I'm a girl's girl.
Good evening, everybody. We are the Hurricane Girls. You are here with us live on youtube.com at Hurricane Girls, also on GCPR Live. We are on the radio, Villains Guild Radio, where all voices matter. And we are here with a special guest tonight, comedian Ava, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure I said that right. We were
Nailed
having a
it.
bit of an argument over whether it's Ava or Ava. So, yeah.
Oh, Ava is so Swedish. Maybe I mean, you know what? Let's open it up. You can
I
call me
mean,
whichever one. Let's be Ava tonight. Hello. Hello, everyone. Such a pleasure to be here all the way from Stockholm, Sweden.
by
I
way
have
of
a Swedish
Toronto,
last
I
name.
think. Yeah, yeah. This we have a Swedish person, or Swedish name at least, anyway. Here,
How was
um,
my accent? Good, bad?
I don't know.
we have with us tonight. We have with us all the way from New Hampshire, author of The Year of Dating Myself, coming out in July. Hurricane Abby Rose Marin. Hey, girl.
Hello.
And to my right, we have the salty hurricane Mary Bankson. And I'm gonna start the recording. That's gonna help a lot, for the Spotify there. So we have Mary with us, Abby here, and welcome back to the show, Hurricane Evie. After an absence, we are so happy to have you with us today. We are missing Hurricane Morgan. Morgan is sick today. Sim had a scheduling conflict, so we are a little bit short on our staff today, but we are here for it, and I've been looking forward to this show all week long ever since I had an opening in Ava was like, okay, I can do it this Tuesday. I'm like, please, please. I've been trying to get you for months now because I had another show, and you it was on Fridays, and Fridays for a stand-up comic, not usually so great, but I'm glad to
Yeah.
have you here. Just a couple of things before we get started. I do want to let everybody know coming up in the next few weeks, we got a lot of other great guests here. Next week we will be interviewing Nashville country music artist Haley Mae Campbell. After that, the week after that we will visit with Miss Emily, a soul singer from Canada. And then the last week of March, we're going to meet Ida Easter, editor-in-chief of the Last Girls Club, and we're really excited about that. We are also I also want to let you know we are provisionally certified with the Creator Accountability Network, which means that we are here for the accountability. Canada's a nonprofit dedicated to reducing harassment and abuse through ethical education and a system of restorative accountability. We join because we care about the safety and well-being of our community members. And if you feel that our behavior or content has harmed someone, please report it to CAN either via the reporting form on their website, creatoraccountabilitynetwork.org, or via their hotline at 617-249-4255 in the US. They'll help us make it right and avoid repeating the same mistakes in the future. And they also need volunteers from our communities to help their work. So if you have any skills that you think would be helpful or time and desire to help, please visit their website and find out how you can volunteer. And most importantly, get the word out to other creators who you think would be interested in getting credentialed. Help us build safer communities together. That's a lot to get out right there, all in that one breath I took there. So we're back on track here.
What a hurricane of information that was.
Yes.
Is that where you got the name?
From me talking, possibly. Although Evie can give me a run for my money, usually.
What? I'm not mad at that. That's real.
Yeah. So, Ava, Toronto, Canada. Can we go live there, please? Because the U.S. sucks right now.
Yeah, we're having a housing crisis, so no better time to come on down to Toronto. Toronto's building an insane amount of condos, so surely there will be some space. Come on down. And the best part is you can, if you're trans, you can serve in our military in the upcoming war against America. So
that was the part I was looking for. It was the opportunity to get my ass shot off there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're allowed to be in our army. We'll take everybody.
If you haven't checked out Ava on the internet, they're Ava Val Comedy on most socials. There, the stand-up special "So Brave" is out on YouTube, a full special for absolutely the cost of free. You might have to watch a few ads, but I watched it. It's amazing. Especially, I think, identifiable for me because that thing we share in common, long hair. So
sure, of course.
yeah, it's just so introspective and all that. And going back and looking through some of your earlier work and seeing how you've grown in it, it's just been phenomenal. I love watching it. And
I really appreciate that. Thanks.
the videos of yours that I've duetted on TikTok this week have been some of my best performing videos in a while. So I think there are a lot of people that were really anxious to see you. So I'm talking a lot. Tell me a little bit about yourself and maybe how you got into comedy and what your experience is like these days.
Yeah, sure. I mean, first of all, thank you very much. Very kind words about the special. I worked so hard on it. I've been doing stand-up for 18 years. I knew at a very young age that's what I wanted to do. And like I got started first thing out of high school. I was bad for maybe 13 of those years. And it just goes to show that if you're terrible at something, maybe in a dozen or so years, you'll finally figure it out. So don't give up, kids. That's the moral of the story. But
as we're in our
18
second
years
season of the show, yeah. 18
yeah,
years though.
Imagine how good this show is going to be in 13 years. My goodness. You're going to have your cast is already, you got 8 girls, I think. You're going to have 49 in 13 years.
And here comes another one. I guess
Oh my goodness.
Hurricane Momo is with us tonight too. Hey,
Hi,
girl.
Momo.
Hey y'all.
I know you're not feeling so well, so don't feel like you have to jump up on camera with us, but
Oh, I'm
yeah.
not. I look a hot mess, but I still want to say hey.
We're
Ava, you got one job, and that's to make me laugh my socks off.
Okay. All right. No pressure.
no pressure, none.
Yay!
How loose are these socks? Can you pull them half off? Give me a head start.
Would that make it a
I-
sock fluffer?
No, not a fluffer.
You know what? Do me a favor. Go in on this neurovirus because that's what got me.
Oh,
Oh
you got a
no.
neurovirus? No.
Virus.
It woke me up, y'all. Literally 4 a.m. in the morning. Literally woke me up in hypothermia chills, like teeth rattling, body shaking. I thought I was there. I was like, God, I was like, in the name of Jesus, I was like, Lord, help me. And the Holy Spirit go drink some hot water. I drink hot water. I'm like, oh, it's a bug. And then I'm like, wait a minute, what kind of super flu? I'm like, this ain't COVID. What is this?
You texted me on Sunday. I was like, surely you're going to be over it by now, but
Nah,
apparently
this
it kicked your
nah,
ass.
it's still some rumbles around here. My head still kind of hurt, and my
The
body still
rumble.
hurts a little bit.
Well,
I
you
mean,
sound fantastic. You
Thank
sound
you.
very
listen,
lively and vivacious despite what ails you.
this is Morgan on a bad day, and you should see her on when she's at her prime. Oh my fucking God.
There's
Yeah.
never a
Mm,
moment where Morgan is anything less than. I'm just saying.
Yes,
mhm.
but
And
enough,
that's coming from me.
Lord. But enough about me because I want to know how you were doing, Avi. I want to know how you were doing, Abby, my love, and I definitely want to know how you doing, Mary.
Yeah. Well, we got Evie too. Evie's doing okay too. I think. No, you don't want to know about me, Morgan. I'm hurt.
Who did it?
Not like I'm not up your ass all the time with this show, right?
I was gonna say, bitch, I know you're not trying to say like you're not texting us 24/7. Like, first of all,
Mhm.
and we
But
wouldn't have it any other way. We love you.
yes. So what was it like? I'm just going to go ahead and get the very pink elephant in the room out of the way. What's it like being a trans comic?
Oh, in Canada, it's actually not so bad. Not to rub it in or anything, but it's. I think to be honest, I had an advantage in that I had been doing it for already 12 years when I announced that I was coming out. So I already had earned more or less the respect of my country's industry, and I'm sure that made it easier. Like you'd have to ask a trans comic starting out to see if their
Ooh.
experience is much different than mine. I'm sure on like the lowest open mic levels, like it's probably pretty bad. There are a lot of immature, childish comedians on all levels, surely, but it's a lot more high school at the lowest level. And so for me, just fortunately enough, I had already had all these years experience. I knew how to tell a joke. I was confident up there. I knew how to hold an audience. So it just all that I mean, it really opened up how much material I could talk about. I got a lot more vulnerable, a lot more honest. And I gotta say, I've been welcomed with open arms across the country. It's been more or less very good. It's been nice. There are some places like in Alberta that I probably shouldn't go, but um, I think that's just a prejudice that I have, and I'm convinced I can go there and wow them. So it's good.
I
It's
love
good
it
up here.
because it is
Yeah.
an honest set that you do. I mean, whether you're talking about being trans or just ordinary day-to-day life, it makes it relatable to people. And I think, especially, I think I've been out now about 5 years and transitioning in that time, and it's really helpful because a lot of people don't know a lot about us. They make snap judgments about us. They think we're predators, groomers, that we're going to do things to their kids, that we're trying to peek on them in the bathroom stalls, and just to see somebody up there talking and just talking about normal things we can all identify with, like periods or just changes in life. I think it makes it very accessible to people who don't know a lot about being transgender.
Yeah. I think comedy is an incredible uniting force and an easy way to find a way to relate to people in a very soft, gentle way. So you can really universalize, I don't know if that's the right word, but you can really universalize an experience and make it and humanize it. Comedy can be extremely humanizing because there's nothing more disarming than making somebody laugh. And especially if you can find a way to relate it to a human experience, universal human experiences like feeling new to something and clumsy, which is something that a lot of trans people go through. So as long as I can convey properly the experience of like feeling new to something and feeling imposter syndrome and figuring it out and making mistakes and owning them, then I feel like that's something that almost everybody can relate to, you know?
I think so. I try to be that trans woman too. Like to be, people ask me, like, do I ever, do I ever lower this, like turn this down a notch? And I'm like, no, this is my going out to the trash, look, as well as my going out to the club look. I'm there in Walmart looking like I do because I want people to see a trans woman in Walmart living her life buying celery,
Yeah.
doing normal shit. And I think I see that in your comedy too. It's just like it normalizes everything. It's funny as fuck, but it normalizes everything. I think I yes, I've been watching it for a while. So, and by
I
the
love it. I
way,
appreciate it. Every once in a while, I get discouraged sometimes from like posting videos because I'll post something and it'll get 300 views and I'm like, this should have been a banger. I feel so hard done by so often that I'm like, I'm a modern Picasso. Can I swear, by the way?
yes, absolutely, fucking
I'm a
swear.
Absolutely.
modern.
Fuck yes.
Oh yeah, you're wearing a shirt with that. But there is an asterisk, so it's technically not a swear. We're still bleeping words out on shirts here.
I don't have no idea what that word is. Fackin, fickin.
I'm
I don't
going with
know.
Ficken.
Yeah.
Fickin. Okay, I'll use that. I feel like Fickin Picasso sometimes.
I
And-
wanted to sell it.
You wanted to sell it? I'll buy it.
I wanted to sell.
I
Oh,
want
she
you
did.
to sell it with the full unbleep because, as anybody and everybody knows that knows me, there is no censorship. You should never censor yourself. Fucking is what it is. So just fucking say it, okay?
Okay.
Oh, I
good.
do.
I
I
appreciate
do.
that.
We love fucking. It's such a nice word. Shout out to the Pop-Up Girls.
The Picasso
I'm gonna
girls
share.
just
I'm gonna show
changed
y'all
the
the
show.
clip from Instagram what I saw. I'm gonna share it to y'all.
Ava, I would absolutely love to know who your biggest inspiration comedy wise is. Like, who is your comic god that you've watched ever since you were a little tiny girl that was like, this is what I want to do? Like, who inspires you to be as ruthless and uncouth as you are? Because I fucking love it.
If I had to pick one, it would easily be Susie Izzard.
Oh yes.
And the cool thing is, like, I turned on to her at an early age before I'd even heard any of her like gender-based material. Like I used to download off of Kazaa as much stand-up comedy as I could, and I would mow my parents' lawn and just like listen to these mashups, these compilations of all these comedians, and the titles on Kazaa, the names were all wrong. And so most of the time I had no idea who I was listening to. So it took me forever to finally track down who Eddie at the time, Eddie Izzard was. Um, and but I was just enamored with like her free spirit, and she's so playful on stage, and I really respond to that. I love seeing comedians have fun. I need to see you have fun for me to get in on that. And that's something that I hope I convey that because I like to improvise and I like to be spontaneous, and I draw so much of that from Susie. I love Susie.
I love her too. Like I remember being in a hotel with my conservative Christian parents back in uh yeah, a while ago, back in the 80s or 90s at least anyway, and like seeing we turned it on to HBO, and Eddie Izzard at the time was had a comedy special out, and we were watching this, just listening to my parents be like, why is he wearing all that stuff? Like this is weird, and I'm just sitting there thinking like, "Hmm, yes, I like this. Like there's
Yeah.
something here, it gave us like a first little taste of representation, and just watching her do what she does now, even it's just so she doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah. She was like my
Not
first.
a single fuck,
Yeah.
and it's amazing.
and she treads her, she like, if she's got a tangent in mind, she follows it through no matter where it goes, like pretty fearlessly. And I adore that. Like I really take that with me on stage, where like if I've got new material and I'm riffing on something, I will see it to the bitter end and I will keep digging. If it's not going anywhere, I'm like, if I keep digging, maybe I'll dig out to China on the other side and find a beautiful waterfall. If I just keep digging, you know?
I love the fact that I was watching that back then and was in an oppressive environment, but my daughter is watching you right now and getting to see this. Like she's there in the YouTube comments right now, like, hi. My daughter Hermione is like, hi. And just like getting for her getting to see that because she's expressed her gender, her gender identities. She's expressing, her sexuality. She's it's like I'm a demi-lesbian. And like I'm trying to imagine myself at her age, 13, being able to come out and say, "Hey, I'm pansexual, I'm trans." And
Mm.
that's like hard. And I know I don't mean to dwell on that topic necessarily because you're not a transgender comedian. You're a comedian. You're a stand-up comic. Like
Yeah.
regardless of we don't go around calling like this is a cis straight male stand-up comedian. Um, there's no reason why we should refer to ourselves that way either. I think. I mean, it's our identity, but who you are is a funny person, and I love that.
Yeah. Yeah, the trans thing comes secondary, tertiary, fourthiary.
Right.
Yeah.
Court,
Is there
courtship.
anything past tertiary?
Court.
I-
It's court. It's court.
It's court. Okay, I'm sorry.
Sorry, I'll shut the fuck up. I'm sorry. It's like the writer and like
The
Yeah, I'm
educational
over here being
writer,
like
no less.
teensy.
it's the ed pub in me. It's the ed pub. I'm so sorry.
No, I love it. What a learning experience. This is a hurricane of information. This is.
Yes, we are quite a maelstrom here. I usually do our introduction there, but I kind of went past it. We are the daughters of darkness, the sisters of rage. We are the goddess's curse on mediocre men and nature's happy little accidents. So
Oh, that rocks.
that's us. Yeah.
I
The
love
Hurricane
that.
Girls. We were just a group of friends who came together during Hurricane Helene, and then kind of grew. So added members along the way. See, the thing about us is when we have guests, they tend to want to come back. So
And then
Evie
they stay
started out.
here, which I'm actually okay with.
Yes.
Like I need you all to stay here forever.
Evie started as a
Please.
guest on the show on season one. We had her on, and then we're like, no, we're keeping her. And then Abby came along,
Abby,
and we were
kept her
interviewing
too.
her about her book, and she was like, no, this is really fun. And then Mary came along, the salty historian here, and talking about her book, Women Make History Better, that's coming out soon as well. And she's just
damn.
like, I want to come back too.
Writers.
So yeah, we've just kind of added a collection of amazing women as we go along. That's the whole point. We're here to lift up the voices of women, and on this show, trans women are women, and well, on this show
That
and everywhere
part.
else. Yeah. So I have been. I used to do a show. It was strictly transgender stuff, and that's when I contacted you the first time. I was like, I need you to come out. We're on Fridays. You're like, nope, I got to go make money. And then I was like, we have a
Hard.
show on Tuesday now. No comic is performing on Tuesday that I'm aware of. I guess they will, but if
Yeah,
there's a
Tuesday.
stage.
Thank you for
Yeah.
changing your entire schedule for me. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. How could we
Love
not? Like
We're accommodating like that.
Yeah, that's
that?
usually a requirement for me. I need people to just like form around me. So I really appreciate
love it.
Thanks.
You want to be the eye of the
Try-
hurricane, is what I heard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for me tonight was I had a choice between Tuesday and Friday night, and our radio station that we're working lets us drop F-bombs after 8 o'clock. So I'm like,
Oh,
shit, I
sweet.
can't do it in yeah, so I was like, okay, 9 to 11, let's do this thing. Let's curse our asses off. Let's say fuck every third syllable, and then
because the reality is I was dropping F bombs when it was at 6.
right.
Oh no.
I feel like
Yeah.
it's my fault.
No, it's okay. At least we were pre-recording that episode, so
Is this live on YouTube
It
as
is live
well?
on YouTube.
is.
Yes, we are live on
Where?
It is.
Oh,
live at Hurricane Girls on YouTube. Yeah,
is there a chat? Oh,
there is a whole chat there. They're talking, and my daughter Hermione just
Are we
said
on
that she
Twitch
was.
tonight? Are we not on Twitch
We're
tonight? Or we're
not
on
on
Twitch
Twitch tonight.
later. Okay,
Twitch has
We
been a
got
dumb bitch.
we got
Like,
yelled at on Twitch
yeah,
too, didn't we? We got yelled at.
yeah.
They sat us the fuck down.
My daughter is saying in the chat that she's considering herself a Hurricane Girl, even though she's not physically on the show. Listen,
She is.
you came from my body. You are a Hurricane Girl.
She is. She is.
Yeah, she's always in the comments there, and our producer Jeff is in the comments as well, and then uh, several others I've seen that have popped through that are here to listen to us talk and
Yeah.
just be silly.
Cool. Hi,
Yeah.
chat.
Chat.
Hey, chat.
Yes,
Hi,
thank you,
everybody.
Anna Christina. Yes, you're here too. I haven't set up super chats yet. I need to do that so y'all can send us money. But if you want to send us money, patreon.com/Hurricane Girls.
And the after show, we we're if you think we're unfiltered here.
Oh God, there's been some after shows where we've just had to say, you know what? No, we're never releasing this even behind a paywall.
Are you inventing swear words? Like what? How much worse does it get than fuck?
Well,
Well, it's not
mean,
about the words. It's not so
But
much
with the stories.
the
Oh,
graphic depiction of certain activities that we've done.
Oh, well, fun.
Me, of course. Never me.
Never you, no.
Never me.
No, me, on the other hand, I did get banned from TikTok for giving a blowjob to a pickle. So I will do it. But
It wasn't literally, you
it
guys.
was
Calm
the
down.
no, it was the happiest pickle you ever saw. Like
How-
literally a nice big dill.
It wasn't literal. It was
No,
actually kind of literal, but
it was
also
a
not.
it was a
It
literal
was
pickle.
literal, but not figure. I guess what I'm trying to say. It wasn't figurative. It was quite
Okay.
No,
literal.
it wasn't
However,
a dick. It was bigger than most of the dicks I've seen.
I
But
really
Wow.
hope none of my kids are watching.
my kids are. That's the thing right now. My kids are watching it right fucking now.
Yeah,
and
but
I'm
you
sitting
know,
here-
mine are grown ass adults, so it's like a bit much for them. Like they're
Oh.
like, really, Ma? Really? The fuck?
Yeah, I mean, my parents try to be supportive of my stand-up, but sometimes my mom will be like, "Why do you have to be so crass?" She's like, don't you want a nice gentleman to love you? How are you gonna
Nope.
find a man when you're
No.
doing these blow
fuck?
jokes? I'm
The
like,
fuck?
that's how you find men sometimes.
Honestly, you need
Sorry,
to
I
get
keep
a man.
interrupting.
No,
Let's-
you're the star of the show here. Like you need a
Let's
man.
be very clear. I am not looking for a man, but if Ava is looking for a man, as Riri said, have at it. I mean, who
Mhm.
better than all of us to be like, yes, Ava's the shit, so have at it and DM her. We're gonna get the show back on track.
Yes.
We need someone who loves you for the bones. Yes.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
that's
I was gonna be wholesome and ask about Toronto. Sheila had to go and take it a whole other way.
What about Toronto?
But I actually grew up going to Toronto and during spring break, which, if any of you understand anything about Toronto, if those of you that have never been to Toronto during the spring, so like the rest of my friends were going to like warm places during spring break. I have family in Toronto, so my ass was going to Toronto from New Jersey in spring break.
Oh,
so it was
God.
break as fuck. It was cold. It was break.
Yeah.
But Toronto is it was honestly the cleanest city because again, I have New York as a fucking New York and Guatemala City. As what I
It's a
compare
pretty
it
low
to.
bar.
It is the cleanest city in the entire fucking universe. But when it comes to Toronto, like how do you find, the comedy scene to be like? Do you find that you find a lot of support in the Toronto scene as a trans woman who is fucking funny as hell? Or do you feel like it's kind of like New York where it's like, oh, you have to be a man or, I don't know, other things, not a woman?
Yeah.
So how do you find, like, do you find this receptive? Like, are you like, do you have like a nice spot in Toronto where people can go watch you consistently that you're always at because that's your home place? Like, let us know.
Yeah, Toronto is the Toronto comedy community. There's a bar called Comedy Bar, and really creative, I know. But that's where like all the comedians, at least in my kind of community, it's like this super inclusive bar that does sketch and improv and stand up, and it's owned and run basically by comedians. Like it's not your typical chain club that just does stand up shows and just features like a headliner and like one set of acts for the week, and then they rotate the acts. Like this is basically run by the community. So it's like our cheers. And last night I went to Comedy Bar on a Monday and I got way too drunk. And it's where we all go to hang out, and it's like the spot for comedians to go when they're like in town and not up to anything. Like it's our cheers. It's so nice. And
I
so
love that.
that's basically the home base for a wider community that's really good. Like we have our like marginalized far right nut jobs, but they tend to keep in the margins and run their own shows in their own garages for each other. And the rest of us, I think almost all the rest of the venues in Toronto are super inclusive and like don't tolerate a whole bunch of bullshit. It's really good here. I advocate for it. I think it's great. I've been embraced. I feel nothing short of supported here.
Do you get heckled
As
ever? Like, do you have the occasional heckler that comes in that you have to shut them down?
Uh, well, yes and no. It's been a while. I think the slightly longer answer is that everyone based on social media is developing this idea that stand up involves a lot of crowd work. And since comedians are
No.
constantly posting crowd work clips because it's the best way to stay relevant, it's the best way to turn over material and keep
Hmm.
uh, promoting yourself and putting out content.
Mhm.
Um, it's also giving a lot of new audiences the wrong idea that this is what every
Hmm.
show is just this interactive experience. So I have noticed that there are a lot more talkative audiences, even if they're not mean. Like I don't know. In Toronto, there aren't a lot of mean hecklers. You'll get one very rarely, and even then, they're just easy to shut down.
I think a lot of people think that everything is a Matt Rife show. Like, you know,
Yeah.
like
we never
that's all
discuss
they do
Matt Rife,
is the
actually. Can we just
Ah,
never even give him a fucking platform? Because like he's icky.
he
yeah.
is, but that's what he
Sorry.
made his TikTok presence off of, is doing crowd
Right.
work and
There's
handling hecklers. But yeah, then he went and got a special, and we were like, oh well, you're kind of shitty. But yeah,
Yeah.
He's
it's a lot more than
unoriginal.
shitty. But I will say the following. I think that crowd work is amazing, but I also think having your own original content is even more amazing. I think, being able to actually just tell your stories in a funny fucking way is what actually makes comedy. So I love that. I love that you're concentrating like on that because I agree what you say. Like I feel like at this point, because of TikTok and Instagram Reels, all we see from comics are their crowd work. We don't see their actual stand up anymore. And I'm old. We talk about this all the time. I don't look it, but I am.
Ah,
You know, and so
yeah.
my people in my days, I come from back in the day when it was, the 80s and 90s were actual stand up. Like you actually had to fucking stand on stage for us, like, and we're talking, going to the Apollo Theater and actually captivating a show and an audience before you fucking got kicked off because that's what my people do. We kick you the fuck off.
Yeah.
So it's really it's refreshing to see a comic that doesn't necessarily only stick to the crowd work and actually has a good set. And
Mhm.
just kind of seeing from what you've done, I think that you actually have a good set because you tell your story, you tell your life in a fucking funny way. And I think that is what makes people funny. Like I personally, like I think I'm funny. I don't think I'm funny enough to do stand up. I say this all the time. I say this all the time. I find myself humorous. However, do I want to stand on a stage for like a fucking hour and a half? And like, no, that's terrifying. And my autistic ass wants to crawl into a hole when I hear that. So I commend people that can actually tell their life in a funny fucking way that's relatable, that can make all of us go, wait, we fucking get that. It doesn't matter if you're trans, it doesn't matter if you're fucking a BIPOC, it doesn't matter if you're queer. Like, we understand the story because it's fucking funny. You know what I mean? So I appreciate that. That's what you do. And I guess my next question for you is, who is your favorite stand-up comic to watch to this day?
Oh, wow. Oh, the comics that I'm gonna list are like obscure Canadian ones, you know?
I
People
love
that
that.
I see that I get to watch like all the time. There's a guy named Chris Locke that I highly recommend. I'm gonna put it in the chat
I'm
here for
Googling right
everyone to
now.
see.
Put it in the chat.
I'm promoting other comedians that I love, love, love to watch. His name is Chris Locke with an E. And
Oh, I've heard of him.
yeah,
The bald
he's
dude.
yeah,
He's
yeah,
funny as
yeah.
fuck.
He's so silly and he is so funny and he has such an imagination and he improvises a lot, which I love. And to bring it back to your point about like the improv that I love isn't necessarily crowd work improv.
Mhm.
And I improvise a lot in my set. If you ever watch a live set of mine, I'm winging a lot of it. But what I'm doing isn't that traditional Q&A with the audience where I'm like, what's your name? What do you do? How do you two know each other? Anybody sell like all the stupid icebreakery questions? I don't have time for that. I don't care. I don't give a shit. You know, I want to. So what I like to do is like to react to myself as I'm speaking to just what I see in the room. If there's stuff that I can grab and touch and pull off the walls, then you bitch, if I'm performing at your club, you better nail everything down because I'm gonna pick it up and I'm gonna do giveaways. I once gave away a stump to an audience member and they sat it on their lap for the entire show with a huge smile on his face because I was like, you got this stump. Congratulations, number one audience member. This like 50-pound thing. So like, yeah, that's the improv that I love. That isn't necessarily, you don't have to do the Q&A stuff. And Chris Locke is a comedian that I love to watch because he's just like reacting to himself and he's just kind of pulling it all off the top of his head. And I love that.
I love that. Yeah. And your talent agency's webpage on you says that you're also a singer and an actress. What have you
Does it
been
say I'm a
doing?
singer?
I think it did. Let's see here. I'm gonna pull it up
I
right
think
now.
it says
A
musician.
musician, right?
I play guitar and a little bit of
Yay!
piano, but
Yay!
I can't sing. I'm not gonna sing.
Well,
At least not when other people are around.
Estradiol killed my singing voice dead. Like I'm back to like when I was 13 and my voice was cracking. It's like a fucking goose honking. Like every time I try to go for a high note, I'm like, oh my God, that's why I stopped singing when I was a teenager. Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to embrace the way my voice cracks. It still does. I gave up on trying to control it 36 years ago. It's bad. It's whatever. This is me on my best voice control behavior.
I love
You can
Otherwise, it's
sing.
everywhere.
As a singer and as somebody who's a voice teacher and as somebody who's a musician and a songwriter, I can tell you that you can sing just by hearing your voice.
Yeah,
Where the placement is, you can sing.
it's a matter of confidence, isn't it?
You can
a
sing.
confidence that I need to develop a little bit better.
You can sing.
And
Yeah,
speaking
I
of
really-
I can hear it. I can hear it within a second of talking to somebody. You can sing.
Really? Cool.
Yep.
Speaking of confidence, I've been watching you for a while, and the glow up is real right now. My God, yeah, you've changed a little bit here lately.
I
I'm
have.
here for it.
I had facial feminization surgery on January 11th, a month and a half ago.
I need to get the name and number of your surgeon.
A month
because,
ago? And the
January
swelling,
11th,
and you
a
looked
month and a half.
amazing.
I found out that I apparently have like Wolverine from X-Men level healing. I have a mutant level of healing because I was back doing stand-up 2 weeks after the surgery.
You look amazing. That's
Wolverine.
crazy.
Thanks. Yeah.
Wolverine is Canadian. Yeah.
That's a lot. Yeah. 2 weeks is insane, actually.
Yeah. While I was on stage at one point, I kind of questioned whether it was too soon. but we got through it. I mean, at the time I couldn't like create a perfect seal with my lips when I would sip tea or whatever. So it would just like like dribble out of my mouth. And I did my entire set not being able to pronounce P's. It would just be like it was just like
Like perpetually being out of the dentist chair.
yeah, perpetually being out of the dentist chair.
Do you have a lip flip? Is that why? If you don't mind me asking.
No, fat graft. They lowered my
Oh,
hairline.
okay, that would
and
make
then-
sense. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I've heard that people, when they have that lip flip, it's hard for them to do that. So
Yeah.
that's why I was like, oh.
And
But
it's-
that's amazing. So you
Yeah.
were that swollen, like you were that swollen that it was actually affecting even the way you spoke.
The swelling wasn't, yeah, the lips. Yeah. I was swollen in the lips and I was still learning how to like spatially navigate having these huge new lips. They were like
That's so
potato
real.
chip thin before that.
I mean, they are fantastic. I've just been sitting here looking and like, I'm looking and I'm like, God, so fucking beautiful. And two, I'm like, I'm gonna taking notes here, like what I would like to do. I haven't had FFS yet, or I don't know if I'm gonna have it or not. I haven't decided yet, but if I do, I want that.
No, like
What?
honestly, as somebody who like I am at the point in my life at 42 years old where I'm like, okay, there are certain things that I may or may not do, right? Because it's like I'm starting to see things, and I know that I am very blessed. I know that the brown and the black don't crack. I get it. But I will crack eventually, and it'll be my mama's fault. We've had this conversation before. It'll be my very white mama's fault. And she's beautiful. Let's don't get it twisted. You know, she's 67, looks like she's 45. But there will come the point where like there's certain things, you know, there's my subtitles are on my face. I'm an Aquarius. You know, I don't have a poker face. I've never been good at
At all.
hiding my emotions. And if anybody here knows me, and I know Sheila does, you see it written on my face 24/7. So there are, you know, certain things because of that, they're aligned. So like I'm always kind of, you know, looking at what I want to do. And one of the things I want to do is, you know, a little of here, a little black here. But I always find it amazing when people are like, oh, I had surgery 2 weeks ago and they're fine, because every time I have surgery, and I've never had cosmetic surgery, but I've had other surgeries, I am a fucking mess for like 2 months. So I find it amazing when somebody's like, oh, 2 weeks later, I'm fine. I wish. I don't understand how that is, because you see when I've had surgery, you see the swelling. You don't see it on you, and you look amazing. And you know, this is also a good moment to remind our audience that not just trans women, but other women, cis women, and cis men also have affirming surgery. And so, you know, let's all acknowledge that moment for a minute. You know, we see everybody on the right. We're going to talk about American politics for a minute. And we're going to talk about all their faces and how fucked up they look. And you know what, bitch? Nobody could ever, because Ava, you look amazing. I can't tell you've had fucking surgery. And half of the men and women on the right, you can fucking tell. So fuck them, because gender affirming doesn't mean anything other than making yourself feel good about yourself. And there's no shame in surgery, period. So we need to stop making it just a trans issue or just a left issue, because the reality is that men and women on the right do it as well. And that's just me being obnoxious because I hate the far right. That's all.
By the way, Evie, my kiddo heard me down in the YouTube comments, said off topic, but Evie, you look like you're at least 23.
No, I have a 22-year-old. I definitely don't, but thank you.
Bear in mind that for my 13-year-old daughter, 23 is forever ancient. So no, but
I'll take it. She's amazing. I love her.
yes.
But
But
thank
no,
you.
you are very young looking. We're all, it's kind of hard to believe that we're all like, Abby, you're the baby of the group at this point, I
You
think.
are the baby.
Yeah.
At my fresh little 38-year-old self, I guess. Yeah.
Aw.
Oh, 38. I remember 38.
I can't remember
It was nice.
because my twin Mary here, besides sharing a hair color, we also share the same birth year. So
I
I
think
always
I'm
remember
older.
how old you are. You're a little bit older than me because
Yeah.
What?
I was born on the
Hey,
day
Mary?
that I was
Yeah,
born
I'm
on the
gonna be
day that Jimmy
49 in
Carter
May.
got elected.
Oh my
Yeah.
What?
gosh. Yeah, I'll be 49 in May.
You look amazing. That's ridiculous. What?
Agreed.
It's
You
because
know
I
what
say
this
fuck a lot.
here's what this teaches us, right? The acceptance and love makes us look younger. If you hate for a living, as they do on the far right, you look like you hate for a living.
Hate
We do
really
not,
boils a
bitches.
face.
We
Yeah.
do not.
This is where, again, I'm so jealous of people getting to live above the border at this point.
So dead ass. Like
Yeah,
I might go join my cousins in Toronto because if not, you might not see me for a minute. I might be home in Guatemala for an extended period because this is a lot. It's too much. I can't. I
Yeah.
can't anymore.
I can't imagine. Like my heart goes out to all my trans friends down there. It's I mean to everybody truly, but like yeah, the targeted bullshit that they're doing against trans people is absolutely fucked. And like I have an O1 work visa that's waiting approval. It's like in the system, and we had it scheduled to be planned for June, and I was starting to book gigs in like Boston and Provincetown, and I was like ready to go hit America, and like I was ready to blow up, bitch. I was gonna get famous. But it looks like it's not only been postponed, but all of this, I read that article about how a new memo has been sent around where they're like empowering these border agents to turn down trans people coming or going.
Yep.
And
yeah,
there goes my entire work visa, just like that, up in smoke. It's shitty. It
it
sucks.
is. I mean, it's cutting
Listen,
off opportunities for you and you know, for people on both sides of the border. It's cutting off opportunities.
Mm.
And the fact that we can't
which
leave.
which is disgusting because that actually harms our economy. And you know, why the fuck would we want to do that? We're literally watching the stock market crash in real time right now.
Mhm.
We're watching it happen. We're actually
Yeah.
watching it happen. I think like my favorite thing this week was like a TikTok where I saw where like as I'm not even gonna say his name because fuck that motherfucker and fuck that man. As he was basically declaring his tariffs on Canada and Mexico and everything else, like the stock market was crashing. And as he kept talking, it just kept getting worse. And I was like, yeah, what the fuck do you think that's from? Like, what do you mean? Like,
I mean, you'd think he'd recognize that motion from his dick. Like, honestly, the more he,
bitch.
the
I
more he
love you,
talks big,
Sheila.
the more it shrinks down. Yes,
Sheila, good girl.
I'm just saying.
I'm over here about to say something serious. Historically, I know what's happening, and this is the 1910s, 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s and 60s concurrently. I mean, this is verbatim the Nazi handbook, right? So, and then you go and say that.
Yeah.
Listen, an appropriate dick reference here and there has never hurt anybody.
Sure.
Thing about
If-
us.
If you had to demonstrate sucking his pickle, it would have to be a baby dill.
I know.
I don't ever want to.
Inverted.
Why?
Inverted.
Why would
Like,
you do that?
A chunk of pickle relish
What are the
or
dill
something
chips,
like that.
really? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh
I
my
can't-
God.
Mm.
And it would have to be at least 3 years off of the expiration date too.
Oof.
Oh yeah.
I think that made me go full sapphic. Thank you.
Yeah, right.
I'm here making lesbians, everybody. We're here 2
I was already
hours.
halfway there. I was already halfway there anyway.
Exactly.
Y'all,
Push me over
y'all
the
can
edge.
check the chat for a minute there and not say it out loud. But yeah, that was a lot, and I'm traumatized. Thank you. But yeah, back to comedy.
There's nothing
I feel
funny
like the
about-
government at this
There's
point is
nothing funny
comedy.
about it.
As a naturalized citizen from Guatemala, this is actually comedy. It's also not. It's terrifying. But we would love to know like when your next show is, where it's going to be. I
Yes.
know, like, I love that you're mentioning the fact that you're having a hard time getting a visa to the States because we all need to have We all need to acknowledge that that's happening. We need to acknowledge that trans people are getting their fucking passports reverted back to their
Mhm.
fucking bullshit dead names because fuck that noise, okay? And I love that you were like, can we curse? Because in case you haven't noticed, I curse nonstop.
You
Yeah.
never,
Fuck
never.
that noise. Fuck that shit, okay? Esa mierda. Okay, fuck it. But the reality is that this is actually happening, and it's affecting trans people not just trying to leave the country on vacation. American citizens, by the way, not even we're not talking about my people. We're not talking about naturalized citizens. We're talking about American-born fucking citizens. This is happening to them, but it's also happening to people trying to come to this country just to fucking work, right? Legally work, mind you, because they want, the right loves to say, oh, as long as you do it legally, blah blah blah.
A
Okay,
whole work
people are
visa.
trying to do it literally legally, and
Yeah.
So
it's
that
still an
being
issue.
said, where are you performing
Where
next?
are you performing that we can watch you? That's not here in this fucking
Oh, that
bullshit
you
ass
can watch
country.
me. Okay. So, I I taped a second special the week before my surgery. And it's like a mostly improvised stand-up special. And I'm like, I kind of talk out how I'm feeling on the precipice of this like huge life change. And I try and find some humor in there. And it's like a very real, very raw, unpolished, but still really funny and very sincere and heartfelt. And maybe even a tear-jerking moment here or there. I'm very proud of it. So I filmed that like 3 days before my surgery, and that's in production. So I have my first draft that I'm gonna have to take a look, and hopefully I'm aiming to have it out in 2 months. And since a girl's got to make a little bit of money, I'm gonna put it on my Patreon first. For just $5, people can watch it on my Patreon.
A
And then
steal.
after like a month or two or whatever, I will release it to the general public. But because I don't want to deprive anybody, but also, I got to
It's-
make a
you
living,
money.
gotta
you
make,
know?
you gotta sell tickets.
And it's $5,
$5 is well
Oh.
worth it. Just going off of all of your older material, that's an absolute steal. I would say everybody. And where is your Patreon, by the way?
Uh, on Patreon.
Is it slash Ava Val comedy or
Oh, shit. Good question. I think it's just, yeah, it's
ours
just Ava
is
Val.
ours is Hurricane Girls and then Ava Val. Here, we definitely want you to go there, sign up, throw a few through Canadian dollars her way, and you'll get a great show.
Yeah. It's
It's
five
gonna be
Canadian dollars, which is like $1 American. Surely you can set that aside. I know
Well,
tariffs are kicking
I
your
mean,
ass right now,
just
but
just don't buy eggs one week.
yeah,
You've got
The
this.
And
shade
then you
was
can
Yeah.
watch us
so
three times
real.
over by not buying those eggs.
yeah. $5 is what? One American egg?
Yeah.
It's one
Pretty
less
much.
Not
American
even
egg.
that, honestly. But yeah, I mean, it's well worth it. If you haven't subscribed to Ava on various social medias, on Instagram, it's Ava Val Comedy. TikTok is Ava Val Comedy. I'm. Are you on Blue Sky?
I
Uh,
am, yes,
okay.
but Blue Sky caps videos at 60 seconds, which is horse shit.
Horse shit.
Yeah.
Yes. That's why I don't post as much there.
Yeah, me neither. Yeah. But I also have a podcast, a solo podcast called Podgis, where it's just me just like riffing for an hour plus. And then there's exclusive content on my Patreon, but Podgis is like available for everybody.
That'd be
It's
on your
good.
YouTube channel.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
anywhere you get podcasts.
Nice. Love it.
It's good. It's
Spotify,
funny. It's
Apple.
jolly. It's rompy. It's
So
great.
your task today, studio audience, is to go to Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get Stitcher or whatever you use. I don't even know what there is out there anymore. Subscribe to Ava Val Comedy, or what's the name of it again?
Podgis. Podgis.
Gotcha. It's in the chat there
Yeah.
on YouTube, and then go over and subscribe to Hurricane Girls. So you get a twofer, you get a lot of great content that way. And yeah, we get 2 hours of us at least every week, and probably more if we have bonus content or guests that can't come on at the normal time. But yeah, I mean, definitely we want to support you in everything you do. We've been very happy. Now we're about to go into the second hour of the show. I know you said you might have to dip.
I was considering dipping out early to work on that draft of the special, but like I don't know if you guys want to keep
We
hanging
want to
out.
keep
I'm
you.
fine.
Yeah.
Come on, lock her down,
Yeah.
ladies. Lock her down.
Locking it
We're
down.
we're shutting the doors. We're
Mhm.
putting the little lock through. But I do have to re-identify the show here at this point. GCPR rules. We are on gcpr.live, where every voice is important, home of the Villains Guild Network, and we are there with a wonderful slate of shows. We'll be ending at 11 tonight, and you'll be able to continue listening on GCPR to Conversations with T. Nathan. We're on YouTube live at Hurricane Girls. If you are here in our audience, please hit that like and subscribe button, and keep coming back for more. We're going to have some amazing guests coming up. Haley Mae Campbell next week. Been a fan of hers for years. She is just she's we're going to be her first podcast after dropping her first album, and so it's super exciting. She's also who sang our theme song, so definitely come in for that. Join us the week after that for Miss Emily, soul singer from up north of the border, also from Toronto. And then we are no, you're not at all. But yeah, no. Then the week after that, what was her name? I'm so sorry. I'm blanking. Mary. Ida
Oh, Ida Easter. She is the reason that I
Easter.
have been validated as an author.
Okay, excellent. So we have authors all over the place here, by the way. And by the way, I forgot to mention earlier, I've got a single coming out on Spotify next week, hopefully. So I kind of dropped that in TikTok
On
last.
what?
Yes. I
Because what? Explain that, please, in full
I
detail.
I recorded like see I just started a new job at my job at the Evil Fruit Company. And
Wait, hold on.
Evil
Do you mean the company that I have beef with?
the Evil Fruit Company that makes your devices. And
Oh, okay, good. Not
yeah,
not
not
not the
that
one that
one.
I hate because my country. Go ahead, keep going.
No, not that. No, but I'm supposed to be learning their production apps like iMovie and GarageBand and stuff like that. And so my my instructor was like, "Here, just play around with it for a while." And so I had about 4 hours and came up with 3 tracks. And gonna I got one of those uploaded to CD Baby right now that it's going to Spotify next week, I believe. So check it out. Sheila Chappelle. The song is Let You Go. And that is I'll have to send it to you later, Abby. I have a copy of it.
She knows I'm mad as a songwriter. And as your fruit company is one of my clients that I've written a song, I'm pissed at you right now. How the fuck did you not tell me this? What do
I
you mean?
I told Abby.
You didn't tell me.
I'm sorry. I will tell you after the show. We're gonna pretend like it was last week.
Shook. I need to hear this. I am
I
shook
was
to my
just
core.
I was playing around with making beats and combining loops and stuff like that, and I sort of started building a song, and then I grabbed my microphone, plugged it into the computer, and just recorded vocals, and then started mixing everything, and it's a song now. So and
I'm
and,
I'm
and now
I'm gonna
Evie's gonna kick my ass for it.
See, Sheila, I've just been fangirling preemptively. That's what it is.
God, you have so many more followers than me. You have more.
Yeah, and I get no views because I'm talking about women in history. I'm a woman talking about women in history. I am the devil.
Right. But
And
here,
I don't focus on only American
that
history either.
reminds me too. That reminds me too. It is Women's History Month.
It sure is, motherfuckers. Let's
Yeah. And so, in honor of that, we have our very own woman's historian, the girl's girl of historians here. And you'd wanted to introduce a little moment in women's history for us, so
Yeah, so
I'll
I
leave that
actually
to
wrote
you.
my awesome, and I actually wrote myself a script because if I don't, I will go off on tangents and never get to the point. So forgive me if it sounds like reading. It shouldn't. So I thought for today, it would be apropos to talk about how so many people, especially men, think that women can't do great things in warfare. And I want you to keep in mind that many of the women who fought so hard, often harder than men, were expected to maintain their femininity, wear makeup, and put out, of course. Isn't that awesome how things have changed? So yeah, women in warfare. It's a place we shouldn't be allowed, am I right? Yeah, fuck that. I'm going to give you the Cliffs Notes on a few women in warfare and let you decide if that's true. It's not, but I won't tell you what to believe much. Women have gone into battle since forever, historically and unfortunately. And anytime a skeleton was found with a weapon, they were automatically a man, automatically. Except people who think that are dumbasses. So, as recently as January of 2025, NationalGeographic.com featured stories about the way modern science is disproving and uncovering the lies that have been told about women's roles in warfare. And those roles were not only clerical. So let's meet a few of them. Uh, there were the night witches, proof that even inferior equipment doesn't stop a woman. During World War II, they were Soviet badasses who were recruited to fly planes. They were told the planes would be bombers, but that's a laugh. Still, they flew those planes into enemy territory and took shit out. The thing is, they did it with completely inferior equipment. They got hand-me-downs, old uniforms from dudes. So big on them, they had to stuff the toes of their boots with bedding and other shit so they wouldn't fall off. The planes they were given never meant for combat. One source said that those planes were like coffins with wings, plywood with canvas pulled over it, light two-seaters. They were fucking 1920s open cockpit biplanes meant for crop dusting. The planes could only carry one bomb under each wing, or they would fall out of the sky. They were slow and had to be flown low when they were carrying the bombs and made them easy targets, which is why they flew at night, the night witches. And they didn't get any of the fancy schmancy gear that men got. For them, it was two women in a plane, a navigator and a pilot. Their instruments were a compass, maps, rulers, flashlights, and guns. And if they came under fire, they had their helmets and the ability to duck. Tracer bullets meant their wood planes would be incinerated. So, and yet by the end of World War II, the all-women's 588th Night Bomber Regiment flew more than 30,000 missions and dropped more than 23,000 tons of bombs on Nazi fuckheads. But why were they called the Night Witches? Easy. Nazis are stupid, and still are. Fucking duh. When these amazing women went on a mission, they went in groups of no less than 3 planes, up to 40 two-person flights a night. The first planes went in as bait, drawing Nazi spotlights and lighting up the witches' targets. In the meantime, the third plane would go a little higher, and when her navigator said it's time, tapped her on the shoulder, and they would stall the engines and just glide in. And with those canvas sides, it sounded like a broom sweeping the ground. So the Nazis were afraid and had to diminish them and call them night witches because they were cleaning instead of fighting. But they rained down hell that men in better planes were afraid to do. The sound, all right, so excuse me, it was their stealth mode. It said they had 12 commandments, the first of which was, be proud you're a woman. But of course, men thought they were given injections to help them see at night, because how could a woman do it otherwise? And guess what? After the war, the night witches were not included in the victory parade in Moscow because it was determined that their planes were too slow. But sure, women can't do great things in warfare. Moving on, how about Lyudmila Pavlichenko? Proof that nearly always women are ridiculed if they refuse to conform. She was one of 2,000 women Soviet snipers during World War II, of which only 500 survived. She's called Lady Death, and rightfully so, because she had a recorded 309 kills, placing her within the top 5 snipers of all time. And it's possible she had even more because a kill didn't count if your buddy didn't see it. Her talents included counter sniping, which is basically a duel with another sniper, and she clearly never lost, or I wouldn't be telling you this part. One standoff took 3 nights, and in the end, she said he made one move too many. Huge, look at that. It's another dumbass. So, if you're wondering what the Nazis thought of her, during one battle, the Nazis called out, Ludmila Pavlichenko, come over to us. We will make you a German officer and give you plenty of chocolate, because that's all any woman cares about. When her kills exceeded 300, their callouts changed. Ludmila Pavlichenko, if we catch you, we will tear you into 309 pieces and scatter them to the wind. Scared much? Yeah, well, after the war, she toured the United States with Eleanor Roosevelt to talk about her experiences. And the press was fascinated, and they focused on the fact that she was wearing her drab uniform instead of a cute dress and makeup. So she got fed up, and during a speech in Chicago, she said, Gentlemen, I am 25 years old, and I have killed 309 fascist occupants by now. Don't you think, gentlemen, that you have been hiding behind my back long enough? She spoke about racial segregation and gender equality, how women were treated in the military. She's remembered as a military hero and the most successful female sniper of all time. Woman sniper. I hate using female, forgive me. But the United States was more focused on her boring, ugly dress because of we're us. I still have time. So, because even with hundreds of recorded kills, women can't do great things in warfare. Speaking of makeup, ever heard of Remedios Gomez Paraíso? Yeah, I hadn't either until somebody suggested her name to me. Remedios was a Filipina beauty queen who became one of the most successful guerrilla commanders in World War II. She became known as Commander Liweway, meaning Commander Dawn. She became known for her red lipstick, for always putting on her best look before going into battle. Why? Because for at least three reasons. She was fighting to be herself. If it was her day to shake hands with the Grim Reaper, she wanted her death face to be beautiful. And she said that when her men saw her calmly applying her makeup, they were calm too and eager to follow her. How about just one example of how badass she was? During the Battle of Kumansi, she and her squad, along with two others, were getting their asses handed to them by the Japanese. They were ordered to retreat. The other units obeyed. She told them where to stick their retreat and kept fighting with her men, heavily outnumbered, and they forced the Japanese into retreat. It was said that she could liberate a town just by riding in on a horse with her gun held high. But yeah, women can't do great things in warfare. How about another Filipina, Nieves Fernandez? Nieves means snow, but she wasn't a snowflake, more like a blizzard. She was a school teacher when the Japanese came to town during World War II and didn't get involved until they came for the children. That's when she began to earn the moniker, the Silent Killer. She would take long walks at night, alone, in a jungle, dressed all in black and barefoot, with nothing but her bolo and her knowledge of the area. If you're wondering, a bolo is kind of like a machete. She'd find a Japanese soldier and approach silently from behind. A quick movement with her bolo, striking just a few inches behind and below the ear, quick turn and a thrust upward. They didn't have time to do anything but gasp. Yeah, right? Some thrusts are awesome. And then she they wouldn't have time to gasp. So
I caught
Sorry.
that. Sorry. It took me a second.
So once she had done that, they didn't have time to do anything but gasp. So they couldn't warn the next person. So she would move on to the next. And according to sources that I found, she had recorded more than 200 kills. And instead of teaching the alphabet to children, she was teaching improvised weaponry to men. After the war, she went back to teaching kids. And a reporter asked her once about her time in World War II. And she said, and I'm paraphrasing, oh, that's when they called me Captain Nieves. Now I'm just Miss Fernandez. But again, women can't do great things in battle. Let's drive home how even when you're a badass sniper who shouldn't be fucked with, you still have to put up with sexual harassment. Rosa Shanina was also a Soviet sniper in World War II with more than 50 recorded kills. She became known for going AWOL from her unit so she could go to the front and, as she put it, kill little Hitlers. But unfortunately for her, she was also breathtakingly beautiful. And it is so hard for men to figure out how to keep it in their pants. In her diary, which you can read online if you are so inclined, she described how men would try to touch and kiss her. Even with the ability to take out little Hitlers with a powerful fucking weapon, men considered her little more than a hole because, yeah, dumbasses. And again, even with 59 kills under her belt, women can't do great things in warfare. And finally, if you're one of my followers on the socials, you already know I'm not going to leave out this next woman. Milunka Savic was a Serbian war hero and is my personal hero, the first woman to join the Serbian military and the most decorated woman in the history of warfare. No one before or since is more decorated. Between Russia, France, Great Britain, and Serbia, she was awarded 12 medals. She's been called the Serbian Mulan, but can we stop doing that shit? Mulan was Mulan, Milunka is Milunka. So anyway, Milunka took her brother's place. This is where they think she's like Mulan, but it diverges from there. She took her brother's place when the first Balkan Wars began. She dressed as a man, of course, because women aren't allowed in battle. She was terrifying on the front lines, fearless and completely badass. I'm getting emotional because I love her. For example, so during one battle, the Serbs and their enemies were having a standoff, and no one would cross the area in between, known as no man's land, because there's no there's no cover, there's no, who would do it? Who would do it? But just like Eowyn in Lord of the Rings, she was no man. She grabbed her grenades and started taking out trenches as she crossed, and single-handedly, she captured 23 Bulgarian soldiers. Not bad for just a girl, right? Milunka would ultimately fight in both Balkan Wars and World War I. She was wounded no less than 9 times in battle. None revealed her secret until the last one, when she caught shrapnel to the chest. So the field doctors had to open her shirt, and of course they found boobles. Once she'd recovered, she was called to appear in front of the commanding officer. She was supposed to be punished for having the nerve to be a woman and badass. But he knew how bad this is why I get to do multiple takes when I'm recording. He knew that she was a badass and he couldn't bring himself to punish her. So he offered her a transfer to a nursing unit because it's appropriate for a woman. Standing at stiff attention in front of his desk, she said she would serve her country only as a combatant. And he chuckled. He's like, all right, let me think about it. I'll get back to you tomorrow. And she stayed at stiff attention, not moving a muscle, and said, I'll wait. And he returned. He took off. He fucked off for about an hour, and he had people keeping an eye out. She never moved. She never relaxed. She never moved. She did what she said she would do. So after about an hour, he went back. He's like, all right, fuck it. You're going back to the front. And she did. She didn't fight during World War II because she considered herself too old, but she did help run a hospital for the injured, and she helped orphaned children. But at that point during World War II, because she was a hero, she was invited to dinner with Serbian and Nazi officials, and she turned them down because Nazis. Of course, they did not like that, and they beat her bloody in front of her children. Then she was put in a concentration camp for 10 months, and she was slated to die. And the guy who was meant to shoot her recognized her as a war hero and let her go. She lived out the last years of her life in poverty and obscurity. And it wasn't until an anniversary celebration of victory that people remembered her because she wore all of her medals. Despite offers of a pension and apartment in France, she refused to leave Serbia. Despite how poor she was, it was her home, and she'd fought so hard to protect it. But yeah, tell me, women can't do great things in warfare.
I have a couple of takeaways from that, honestly. First of which is that Night Witches is going to be the name of my album eventually.
Yes!
Yes, but yeah, I mean, honestly, don't underestimate a woman. You do so at your own peril, and those stories. I mean, we're always told women can't do those things, and then
and that's why we aren't taught. If I did not like history until TikTok. 2.5 years ago, a misogynist convinced me that I loved history because he told me women can't do great things in warfare. Fuck you, dude. I hope he's out here watching. Hi, fuck you. Anyway.
and there's going to be more of these stories in your book.
Yes.
Tell us where to get that.
Yeah. I am actually going to be self-publishing, and right now I'm wrapping it up because I had a really bad experience with a publisher. We are not going to get into that right now. But he is now officially my stalker, which is great. I always wanted a stalker. Anyway. But yeah, if it hadn't been for a misogynist, I would have never discovered that I love history and that I have this passion for talking about women in history. I also discovered that I'm a much stronger woman than I ever thought I was. Had I learned these things in school, I would never have bowed down and kissed a man's ass. And that's why we aren't taught. It's by design. We aren't taught about strong marginalized communities or strong women or strong anybody unless they have a fucking dick and a white face and they love to fuck pussy. I'm sorry.
No,
I'm just
that's
I
true.
it's so frustrating. And it's the same story over and over and over again. And each of these women, after they were done, went back and raised families or took care of their communities or went back to being teachers. So they did all this badass stuff and then they went back and didn't care. They didn't want glory. Nieves Fernandez, she's like, fuck it. I'm Miss Fernandez. I'm telling them how to do their alphabet. So I think that even like now it's all by design again, because if you don't teach people about their strong foremothers, and if you make them desperate, you take away the things they need, you take away their access to things and tell them the only thing available to them is being a soldier or getting knocked up, you make a great army. And that's what's happening right now. So we are World War II, World War One. This is World War III on the horizon, and it's going to be here. And it scares the fuck out of me because I can see it coming and nobody will listen.
You know what I love about
Yeah.
this show? Honestly, I love the fact that these are not only we are not only five gorgeous women. We're five badass women here.
Oh yeah.
We've got historians, writers, comedians. We've got
Oh yeah.
people who publish dumb songs on Spotify. We've got people who write educational material. I mean, just we're doing the things out here that men have said that we can't do. And if you want to get me to do something, tell me I can't do it.
That
Powered
part.
by spite.
Mhm.
Tell me I
my
can't
God.
do it. Motherfucker, I guarantee you I will have it done.
Word.
Yes.
Yeah.
I want to throw something out there though while I have a second. So because we keep referring to the dickhead in charge as like Mango Mussolini and shit like that, can we start referring to him as like pitiful Pol Pot or somebody who isn't white? Because if we insult him with a person of color who was also a penis potato, it's going to bug him more than being compared to the people he loves.
Mhm.
And if you don't understand, penis potato, what's another word for a penis? A
Pickle.
dick. Another name for a potato is a tater. Dick, tater,
Mhm.
penis potato.
Oh, I got it.
I like it.
I was
I like
thinking
it.
spud. I was like, where does spud come in? Where does gourd come in?
I was thinking pitiful pickle Pol
Serious-
Pot.
Yes. Oh my God, yes. But I mean, seriously, we need to stop comparing him to Hitler and Mussolini and Stalin and Lenin. Fucking call him Pol Pot. You know, call him, oh, I don't fucking care. But stop calling him white people. He's not
So,
white.
like,
It's fucking orange.
as somebody who, unfortunately, I say unfortunately because I've been going through it literally since 2016. I've been going through it. But as somebody who actually writes textbooks, because that's my side job. And in fact, right now, like, I'm taking a break from my Alabama project. Just let that sink in for a minute. I can't talk about it because NDA, but that's all I'm going to say is Alabama, and its history. So it's, as somebody who's taking a break from that right now, it is actually really important to actually write history and to actually understand and read and study history. Because as somebody who has in the past watched insane things happen in education, this is a very difficult and trying time. We talked about Remedios Paraíso. I love Remedios Paraíso. I think she is one of the most incredible women in history. And if you want to go somewhere, a little bit before that, red lipstick, and you see me wearing red. I've been wearing red. And I don't usually wear red. You know this, Sheila, because I usually wear very neutral tones. I'm not like, my eyes are usually crazy, but my lips are always neutral. But ever since last month, which was Black History Month for me, I like, even though my siblings want to laugh and say I can only celebrate half of the month, fuck them, first of all. Fuck them. The reality is I've been actually wearing red lipstick because if you understand what red lipstick symbolizes, not just with Paraíso, right? And just talking about we're actually going to talk about World War II. We're going to talk about fascism. And it was actually a symbol of patriotism and defiance against fascism. So I've been wearing this red lip, which I never usually wear because I've never been one to wear red lips. I've always worn a neutral lip because I have, bigger lips. So I try to like diffuse
It looks
them a
great
little
on you.
bit. And my eyes are what I make big. I've literally been wearing it since January at this point, since inauguration day.
That's awesome. Yeah.
But it's a statement of resilience and a way to maintain self-identity. So that's kind of how
Yeah.
I look at it. Women in the Allied forces and the Allied powers, which, if you know what that means
Well,
that we were the ones on the right side of history, right? They wore
right.
red lips. And it is
Right.
important
And
to, yes, to make little moments and little pieces
mhm.
of myself be an
Oh
act
yeah.
of defiance, because I am defying every step of the way, if I'm being honest. But
Mhm.
if I can just, even in how I look, because I know that I look the way that I look, right? And I get that. And I get that that comes with a certain level of everything from privilege to accountability. So I will try to do what I can. And this is my little public act of defiance. Even though I hate red lipstick, I've been wearing it.
You
It
look
looks great on
goddamn
you.
fantastic
Yeah.
in
Yeah,
it.
I
It
love
looks
it.
It
amazing.
makes me look really white.
Girl, the rest of you takes
I'm
care of
sorry.
that though.
I
Which is
know
crazy, which
it
is
makes
crazy
your
for
teeth
me.
look really white. your, your
Thank
teeth are
you, because
gorgeous. You have
I drink a lot
beautiful
of
lips.
coffee. So thank you. And I drink a lot of red wine. But yeah, so it's one of those things where, like, little things that we can do, right, to just make a statement. So I love that Mary brought that into it, because I think that there are things that we can do each day, even as a silent statement. Some of us, if we are, and I am loud and proud. And if you follow me on social media, you know I've been yelling it from the rooftops for the past 8 years. But some of us aren't as lucky as other people are to be able to say that without consequences, right? I'm a naturalized citizen. I'm from a country that this president is trying to denaturalize. My siblings are not all legal. I was undocumented until I was 19 years old. I'm also of mixed race. So it's a lot, right? So some people don't have necessarily ways that they can say out loud. I personally have come to the point where I don't give a fuck. I look the way I do. I am who I am. I am naturalized. I was undocumented, all of the above. But I've come to the point in my life where I'm like, I guess after 40, I didn't give a fuck, right? Some people don't have that privilege. So these
Mhm.
are little tiny ways that we can say, hey, I am not in accordance with this. This is not okay. And if we look at women in history, that's what women have done for as long as women have been women.
I like how you
Because
say
we,
that too. It's
yeah,
an
because
everything about you is an act of defiance at this point.
no, it is. And I'm
Yeah.
sure, and it's all very intentional.
Mhm. Well, I feel the same way about myself too. Is being trans
Yeah.
and openly trans in today's America is an act of
Yeah.
defiance. It's I am going out there just doing the normal shit. I'm buying my loaf of bread and my milk and eggs at the supermarket, but I'm also doing it as a trans woman and as someone who a whole entire election was based around. That the whole marketing behind Trump's campaign was, Kamala is for they them, not for you. And
Ugh.
being trans out and open, I'm sure I don't know what the extent that's true for you, Ava, in Canada, but it feels like being trans out in public and being daring to not live by their rules is an act of defiance, and it needs to be like I think even like with Abby being writing the year of dating myself and putting the very concept out there that you don't need a man.
You don't need no man. That's right, Abby.
Yeah, even though you might have a man here and there, but just publishing that, writing that down on a piece of paper is an act of defiance. And writing about history, I cannot wait for your book to come out, Mary, honestly, because and I still haven't bought the calendar yet. Forgive me, I'll buy it eventually, but I'm still waiting on
Get a
my
fucking dust shirt.
now listen,
You know what? I'll make it with the full. I'll make it with the full word. I'll make it for you. I'll do it just
Ah,
for you and Evie.
I'm
I will do
sold.
it.
Like,
It'll be a
Please do.
let me
Hurricane
let me
Girls,
get my
I
Hurricane
will
paperwork
Girls
wear
together.
version.
it. Please do.
I will
But
wear
and
it.
like talking about doing the little things of resistance, with me, it has always been with telling history of women from around the world, and not only marshmallow complected women, because I hope that by being a woman with marshmallow skin, more people will listen that need to listen. But then I walk that line because I have had people tell me to stay in my lane because I'm trying to steal it when I'm just trying to make sure that our foremothers don't die.
Hmm.
So it's
Listen,
very important to me.
do
I
not.
feel like my role, I always worried that I wasn't a warrior, and somebody pointed out to me that the historians are warriors too,
Yes,
because we keep the history alive. So I'm hoping I'm doing them honor and keeping our foremothers alive.
please never ever shut up. I don't care who tells you to shut the fuck up. Never listen to them. You can send them my way. And if you know anything about me, you
I
know
think I'm
I will
learning.
set a I'll set a bitch straight, okay?
I think
In
about
every
even
language, in all three of my motherfucking languages, bitch, and my fourth one if I have to, okay? So
Learning my third.
never ever let any, because it is important as women to be able to speak our truth. And the reality is that this world wants to see us divided, um, because it is easier for them to control us if they divide
Mhm.
us.
without
And so
doubt.
fuck
Yeah.
that noise and fuck them 100%. Like
Oh,
the
yeah.
fuck, the fuck,
Well,
like no.
Well,
I think
and
being a
something I
woman
always
in
try to do.
comedy too, like being a
Oh
woman
my
in
God, yeah.
comedy is also an act of defiance because the conventional wisdom
Yes.
is women aren't funny.
Oh
Like
Oh
yeah.
God.
Funny as
yeah,
fuck, bitch. You better.
Yeah, and I think the act of expressing joy and the act of sharing joy is rebellious in and of itself. Like especially if I'm speaking solely from a trans experience, like they want us to be miserable. They want us
mhm.
to have our suicide rate as high as possible. They want us to not live our authentic lives as ourselves. So so to be a trans comedian and to tell a humanizing story and to find joy in being trans is like a huge act of rebellion. At least that's what I tell myself.
No,
It
I
helps keep me
agree.
going, you know?
When they see you out there having a good time, when you're out at a club shaking that ass, or when you're up on a stage telling jokes, or you're singing songs, or you're expressing yourself through some form of art, writing, some form of expression, it is an act of rebellion against the patriarchy who has decided that we were nothing but baby makers and only good for making sandwiches and we're only good for making sandwiches and babies, you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
so
but we know
it's,
recipes.
yeah, we sure do.
Julia Tofana. Julia Tofana had a recipe to take care of that.
Right. A little goodbye, Earl.
Yeah.
Yes. Little fried green
Goodbye,
tomatoes.
Earl.
Yeah.
The chicks.
Yes. Like and this is what I think we need to never forget at this point in time because right now it they're they're working really hard and I don't this is going to come north of the border at some point in time too of trying to rewrite the history books trying to um rewrite women's roles in history. I think that we need to keep that alive. And the way that those stories were kept alive in days past was oral tradition or passing down from mother to daughter, grandmother to granddaughter, things like that. And that is where I know you will end up in this world here, Mary. You are that person, and we're all warriors in our own little way. I think
Yeah.
and the challenging part of it, I think, is to just keep a smile on our face while we're doing it,
Yeah.
and
And I
keep
do
it
want to add,
going.
like, especially in the current media landscape where there's so much misinformation and the truth is always being fucked with, it is a warrior's role like yours, Mary, to uphold the truth and to fight for the truth, to fight to expose history as it was. And uh yeah, especially in the face of people who would want information like that obscured or destroyed, you know? So it
My
is a
content
fight.
has already been suppressed. My content's already being
Mhm.
suppressed. My viewership is down 99%. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when when the little mustachio man started fucking things up in Europe, the first thing he burned down was a library full of transgender, well, it was a clinic full of transgender studies and patient records and things like that. He took our history, transgender women's history, out first, and we are definitely seeing we're seeing the sequel to that right now. I'm
Oh yeah.
afraid.
That's
Um,
Florida just did that.
yeah,
Mhm.
Florida literally just did that. They literally burned and threw away trans LGBTQI literature. So
they will not keep us
I don't want to say
down.
too much without saying too much, but the South is currently rewriting Black history.
Yeah.
Yes, they are. They've been doing that for a
And as a
while,
direct
though.
descendant, it is wild to watch.
The way that that everybody wants to bastardize Martin Luther King and forget about Malcolm X.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
what's actually funny is that for those of us that are not white, we actually prefer Malcolm X because Martin Luther King was a little problematic.
yeah.
That's all I'm going to
I
say.
all
Listen to
all I
J.
know
Cole.
is, for real, just listen to J.
That's
Cole
all I'm going to say.
regardless.
Because he tells the story.
But
I told a
I
story
mean,
about a woman from
I love the
India.
fact that I love the fact that we are those strong women, and that I have a daughter right now that's watching these strong women around, and that's she's learning to be that strong woman, and I hope plenty of other daughters are out there, whether it's buying our books, or whether it's listening to our music, or whether it's going to our comedy show, or doing whatever it is, women being women and doing it strong, um, is just is just necessary. And I have often told people, they ask me what's Hurricane Girls about, and I'm like, well, the reason it's named Hurricane Girls is because hurricanes are strong, they're unstoppable, they're a fucking force of nature. They will run the fuck over you if you get in the way, if you happen to be standing out in front of them. And that is the kind of girls I want to raise up in this world. And that's the kind of girl I want to be. And however you can be like that, be a fucking hurricane, be that natural disaster that people, when you go through, people are like, damn, that bitch was serious. And I think all of us in here have our own unique ways of going about it, and I love that. I truly love that. That's why I love this show.
I always
We've
think of
always been
this.
that way.
I always think
Go
of the
ahead.
sociological phenomenon where if a hurricane is named after a woman, people, and let's be real, mostly men probably, don't prepare for that hurricane. Like this is documented that if the hurricane is going to be named after a woman, they are less prepared, they're less likely to take it seriously. But you know what? That hurricane doesn't give a fuck. Like, okay, cool. You've just underestimated me, and now your house has been blown over. Watch me, you know?
Right, right. Say goodbye to your roof.
Mhm.
Say goodbye to
Yeah.
your car.
So
So
Ava,
get
do you
a
feel like you have to always be on? Like, or is it just a natural thing? That's what I've been. Do you have to just
Uh,
always, like, people expect it?
I used to feel that way, but I kind of got over it. I found that like I understand that in guest appearances like these, I am expected to be really quippy, but if it doesn't come, then it doesn't come. And I would rather like I hang around comedians who feel like they have to be on all the time. So I've learned how obnoxious that energy can be to be around. And like I would rather it happen organically than force it.
right. I've noticed
Yeah.
about you, like a lot of when you listen to a lot of comedians on podcasts, like I listen to some of the broy podcasts, sometimes like Mark Maron or somebody like that. When they have a comedian on, it's more like they're serving up a topic, and then the comedian goes into a bit.
Yeah.
goes into a bit or something that you've like, if you know that comedian, you've heard it at their show before.
Oh
But
yeah.
like, yeah, you're definitely not one of those types that just launches into a bit. You're just
No,
natural and
I
flow with
I
it.
hate
Really,
that.
yeah,
I
she's
hate that
naturally
so
funny.
much. I've
Yes.
I've been on the road with so many comics who you can just tell that they're workshopping a bit that they were about to try on the stage. And I used to like tolerate it, but now I called them out. I'm like, don't run bits on me, please. Save it for the stage, dude. This is so awkward. I'm not about to do a workshop with you on the highway. I do not care. Talk to me like a human being. Ugh, it's so gross.
Like you said, usually when you come on a podcast, but I'm glad that you've kind of caught our vibe here. That it feels like it's just sort of a natural flow of conversation, which is what we
Yeah.
try to do. And
Yeah, and thank you for not holding me to being a quit machine, you know?
oh no,
It's
no. I mean, we did build you up as a comedian there, and I'm sure that there were some people that probably came in expecting that, but you don't come to
yeah.
the Hurricane Girls with an expectation. Our show is different every week. Like, like we're gonna talk to a Celtic singer one day, and then we're gonna talk to a librarian or a rabbi the next day. We're good, I've got a whole laundry list of guests coming up that are just gonna take us in different places. But the one thing we'll focus around is womanhood and being women and being, being a comic here for that. You're our first actual comic that's been
Yeah.
No
on the
way.
show, which
Hey,
is
cool.
yeah, which has been like it's been like something that I wasn't sure how I was supposed to tee you up because we talked about this before and you're like, so we're just gonna shoot the shit, right? And I'm like, yeah, we'll riff. Like I don't I wasn't sure what that was gonna mean for you, but I like this
Uh,
version of the riff.
yeah, it's low key. It's my Tuesday night, girl. It's my night off.
Right,
Time to
Yes.
chill.
right.
Unless you
I,
want me to start workshopping bits on you guys, I can
Oh
do that.
no, no, that's something I'll do probably. Just like that's one thing I was like, you're very generous about the conversation too, because you'll let somebody else have the laugh if it's funny, or
Yeah.
if it's meaningful, and that to me speaks a lot to your ethic as a
Mm.
comic. Um, our sister Hurricane Sim just popped up in the comments down there. She wanted to know, have you ever felt, no, that's the same question that Evie just asked. Have you ever felt pressure to be on all the time? How do you decompress from a show is what she wanted to know.
Um, it depends. If I'm more like, okay, let's say for example that I am deliberately working some material for like I'm showcasing for Just for Laughs in a couple weeks. And so my sets are more deliberate about like polishing and cutting the fat and stuff like that. So when I'm in more like a work mode and a polish mode, then I'll decompress by like watching the set back and listening back to it. Otherwise, like I treat stand up, I want the before and after of stand up to be as organic as possible. Like people ask like, do you listen to pump up music? Do you shadow box in the green room? It's like, no. I take it easy. Like the more naturally I can come up on stage with that same air of like conversationalism and relaxed energy, then
Mhm.
that's what I'm gonna do. It's
But
got to be
then
seamless. I got to be human throughout, and that includes like backstage. So
there's also the after show though too. I mean, like after the meet and greets, after everything. Like I remember when I used to be on set or when I'd be in a recording booth or I'd be just somewhere that I had performed, gotten off of stage from a play or something like that. I would have to it would take me hours to just come down, to
mhm.
just come down. Do you have the same like
uh
decompression after, or the same performance adrenaline that takes a while to wear off?
if it's an awesome show, I mean, let's say after everybody leaves, after I've like said hello to whoever wants to talk to me and sold merch or whatever, um, usually I like I'll make a grilled cheese with some onion
Yes.
I'll decompress. Okay, that's okay. Two answers to that. My favorite way to decompress is Taco Bell. I'll get Crunchwrap. I'll get a Crunchwrap Supreme, and I'm working my way through the entire menu one item at a time. That's my current ongoing project. So after a show, I'll get Taco Bell or go home and make myself a grilled cheese. That is the best way to decompress.
Listen, I'm here for the Taco Bell love.
Mhm.
Honestly, if you know anything about me, I lived in China for 10 years and I once took a bullet train from Wuhan to Shanghai, a whole day trip, just so I could go to the only Taco Bell in China because
Nice.
I missed
This
it.
hurts me. This hurts me as a Latina. Like that shit hurts my heart. Like that ass.
Listen, I'm not saying that's Mexican food. That's
Like
drunk food.
what?
That's drunk food. I'm as an alcoholic
Yeah.
in recovery, I can
Yeah.
tell you,
Recovery.
in recovery, I can tell you that Taco Bell saved me many a hangover.
Is Taco Bell American or Mexican?
No, it's not Mexican. Please
Not
never,
It's American.
never
Okay,
refer
see,
to
I
it as
thought
anything
so.
other than white people tacos. What
Okay,
the fuck?
see,
Like,
that's what I thought. That's what I wanted to confirm.
some
Okay.
white people taco shit, you know?
Yeah.
I feel the same
But-
way that Evie does about American Chinese food because having
That
lived there for
hurts
10
me.
years, when I go to a Chinese food restaurant, like literally I'm like, what the fuck is this? But yeah, I mean, it's like I do have that one weakness. And sorry, Evie, sorry for the song, sorry for the Taco Bell. I'll send you the song later and an apology
We're
for the Taco
fighting,
Bell.
bitch. We're fighting right now. Like,
But yeah, that for decompression, I mean, nothing really beats junk food and just vegging out. Like,
Yeah. And maybe it's just a form of like an expression of self-loathing. Or I'm checking my ego where like I can just crush a show and then I'll crush a Crunchwrap Supreme just to like level my self-esteem and keep it in balance. You know what I mean?
Mm.
This is the best I deserve as white people fake Mexican bullshit and a full day of diarrhea the next day.
yeah,
I destroyed a show. Let's destroy my toilet bowl and it'll all
Bruh.
balance out.
yeah. Has there? But speaking of a good show, have you ever had a time where you just really bombed? Like,
Oh,
you're
yeah.
just like, oh my god.
Oh
How is
yeah,
that?
oh yeah. Comedy is even the legends bomb every once in a while. Like you really have to in order to grow, you have to put some shit on its feet and just experience how shitty it is and then go back home and be like, what was I thinking? So yeah, and some audiences just don't get you sometimes and try as you might. The best you can do is have fun when nobody really cares for your act. Just like entertain yourself up there.
I find that if you're entertaining yourself, people usually come with you.
Yeah.
Right? Like they
100%.
usually get on board. They're not there to groan. They're there to laugh. They paid money to laugh,
Yeah.
and they
It's
drank drinks that make them laugh. So
my favorite, if I could recreate the expression, my favorite expression to see in the front row, and this is like this right here to me symbolizes that this person doesn't quite like get my vibe, but they're like, good on you for having fun. They're just like,
yes,
you know, just squinting, full open mouth, not even laughing or anything, just like, huh. Because that's like, it's nice, it's cute. They're like, she's having a good time and good for her.
that's actually so good to hear because I actually haven't. I'm not going to say who it is because you know what, homie hasn't sponsored me, so fuck that. But I paid tickets for front row seats with my besties. My two best friends. We're gonna go watch a very well-known comedian next month, and I'm excited about it. So that's good to know because I'm gonna be honest with you, my very autistic ass is gonna be just
Yeah.
the whole time. It's gonna be mouth open because I'm gonna be stimming. I'm gonna be like probably, rocking myself, just like. So it's good to hear that that's wanted because that's what's gonna happen. Like
Oh, I love to
100%.
see it.
He's
Yeah,
gonna look at me and be like, "The fuck."
that's what I want
So
to
that
see
will
as a
be
comedian. I want to see
in a
authentic
month.
reactions, you know? Yeah, for sure.
Or just feed off of the crowd, at least anyway.
Yeah.
Whether it's overwhelmingly positive or not. If it's engagement, it's engagement.
Yeah. If you
I
look
feel
at it,
like
like body language says everything, and you can tell who's like relaxed enough to just like not care how they look. You look out and usually you'll see some people who are like curled up, you know? I think
Mm.
some of the straight guys think they'll get a touch of the gay if I make them laugh. So they'll like curl up like a pretzel, arms folded, legs folded. I'm like, listen, if you open up, I'm not gonna I'm not gonna make you
I
gay.
mean, we already know that you're going to be in the DMs later.
Yeah,
make you.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah, relax your fingers for when you're gonna be massaging yourself later to pictures of me. Let the blood
Yes,
uncross your arms and let the blood flow wherever it wants to flow.
I agree. I agree. And they love it when we make that blood flow.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. And yeah, that's I mean, I feel like that's my reaction to most transphobes these days is just go ahead. Go ahead. We know what you're thinking.
Yeah,
We know what you're thinking.
it's so transparent sometimes. No pun intended.
Mm. Well, we do, especially this on TikTok, because I'll go into debates with the with the transphobes, and it'll be a live debate about about transphobia, stuff like that, and I'm like, the algorithm brought you here. You
Yeah.
know that it is TikTok is showing you what you are interested in,
Mhm.
and
It's my
you can
favorite.
walk
I
away.
love that comment because it's just it's the way people tell on themselves when they're like, "What is this doing on my feed?" It's like because you keep commenting, dum dum. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Hmm.
What an idiot!
TikTok knows that you stop scrolling and you engage with that video.
Yeah,
And that means you get to engage with me a lot more.
yeah. I hate how erect this makes me. I need to say something.
Yes. Oh my God. You can just feel it too. You just feel it. The bro
Yeah.
frustration. Oh my God, it's amazing. And I don't know why y'all are muting your laughing down here because we've got a comedian on the panel here. I'm sure that everybody wants to hear you laugh.
No, I like
I've been told that my laugh pierces walls, so you don't want that.
Oh my
No, I
God.
like it. I see the laughs, and that's all I need to keep going.
Right.
It's
I'm just
Nose,
good.
thinking I'm thinking about Spotify and Apple later, but yeah.
knows about my laugh, and nobody else needs to.
Evie's laugh. Like there's one TikTok she's done. At Evie's creation, y'all. Go at Evie's creation. Go back and look for the one with her and the cat. Because I swear to Christ, she loses her shit. And I've watched that video 100 times on a loop. Just so I could see, and it's exactly like this.
No,
And it's
I
just
gotta
so
check it
soul
out.
cleansing.
I gotta check it out. Evie's
Yeah.
creation.
Yeah, Evie's creations. Yeah. You've reached the point where only dogs can hear you right now, Evie. Zoom is like, nope, no.
You know more about World War II?
No.
I believe Ava
Listen,
is
my
legitimately
laugh is
looking at it
really
now.
particular. It's a
I'm
lot.
looking for this cat video.
What
Where
is
is it? Okay, I'll find it later. This feels rude. I will find it later.
Fine. You've brought laughter and joy to us all tonight, Evie. And it's wonderful to see, honestly. Evie's been missing for us for about a month now, and I am so happy to see you laughing right now, girl.
Needed you guys. I miss you so much.
Aw.
Yeah.
Listen, I've been through it this month. It's been a shitty month, so I needed this. I am so glad I decided. And I didn't even tell Sheila, like everybody else, I need y'all to understand. I didn't even tell Sheila I was going to hop on tonight because I was still on my I need a minute. This is a lot. I just want to like be sad and whatever. So I'm so glad that I did it. I hopped on because this has been amazing. Ava, you are fucking spectacular.
Oh,
Like I need
thanks.
everybody to go follow her.
Yes. Oh,
Because
thanks.
I've laughed more than I've laughed in a month. Thank
At
you.
Ava Val
Oh,
Comedy,
great.
yes, yes, indeed.
Oh,
We should all follow Ava, as well as anybody else on this, except for Abby. Don't go follow Abby. You can't do it. You just have to buy her
I
book.
am literally
Wait,
unable to be.
Abby is our social media outcast right now. So, or sorry, retiree.
Retiree.
well,
Like,
she's
Yeah.
good for you. What's it like?
honestly, it is amazing. The fact that I had
ugh.
detoxed, like literally detoxed from social media, let me know how addicted I was. And I've got a lot more free time, and my mental health has never been better. So
Uh, I
it is to
bet.
the point that I don't know if I'm ever going to return because it's just like, you know what? I'm happy with this.
I
I'm
keep
happy
trying to
What
living this
drag her
analog
back
life.
in. I keep
what
showing
is
her my videos.
what does grass feel like?
Well, I mean, living in northern New Hampshire right now, it's just a lot of ice. I can touch ice right now, but
Oh, that's gonna be
soon
the new
enough, I could
one.
touch grass.
Yeah, go touch ice.
I feel like
That's what
some
I
people
tell
Oh,
could
that's
women
like
all the
do
fun.
more
time.
than just touch grass. They should be touching ice.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean it has to be refreshing though, like because Abby was had more followers than any of us on TikTok, uh of course around surrounding the books that she writes and the things that she would post there was quite a bit, and then there was some drama, and then there was some mean girl shit, and if any of those mean girls are watching, you can go fuck yourselves.
You can go fuck
um
yourselves.
yeah, and
Literally.
And also, how does
it's
You,
it feel for me to still be rent free in you guys' head? Just gonna put that one out
and
there.
exactly,
and you can
exactly.
come find me because I'll find you.
Mm. So, I mean, the detoxing from all that and it has been good. That just unfortunately means that you can't follow her unless you subscribe to this show,
And buy her
like,
book.
subscribe, and buy her book. It's Simon and Schuster. It's
Mhm.
for up for pre-order as we speak.
And
And
wherever you buy your books, that's where you can pre-order it.
right,
And she's got a
Amazon, Barnes and
pit
Noble.
bull. And she's got a pit bull as her friend. So let's go.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Ah,
Got a couple of us pitties over here.
Mhm.
Pitties with the titties. Love it.
cute.
And we've broken Mary again. All right, so we are coming close to the end of the show. This is usually a time where I give everybody a chance to give their last thoughts here for the night. And since we're talking to you, Abby, why don't we just keep on talking to you?
Yes.
Give us your
Let's
final
do.
thought for me.
I'd say I feel like I always need to clear my throat at the very end. It's a little, let me clear my throat.
I wait
Anyway,
for that moment and then I call on you.
I'd say my final thought is on the power of comedy because there's a reason why we have our gallows humor, our trench humor. When shit is at the roughest, that is honestly when we're at our funniest, you know. And there's a lot to be said about again the humanizing quality, because at the end of the day, we're all people. We all want to laugh, and especially when life is at the fucking hardest, that is when we need that laughter the most.
I agree. Good thoughts. Mary, your final thought.
I have nothing profound other than to say that this was an incredible thing, and I'm so glad that you've invited me to be part of this because being able to meet somebody amazing like Ava and like I met that woman, it's amazing. And I've laughed so hard tonight, just like Abby was saying. I've been struggling to laugh and find an ability to be present in the moment. So this was much needed and very therapeutic. So thank you so much.
I am so
Ah,
glad. You keep saying you're glad I invited you to be part of this. I'm just glad that you agreed to it. You're doing me a
I'm still
favor, bitch.
fangirling. I'm still fangirling over you, bitch.
ah.
Take
Aw.
it. I'll take it. Evie, your final thoughts for the night.
My final thoughts is happy Women's History Month. We are just going to combine Black History and Women's History Month together. And we're going to remind everybody that is watching that trans women are real women and Black trans women made LGBTQIA literally a movement. And so civil rights movement. So everybody that is at Stonewall right now, because here in New York, we've all been going to Stonewall. Everybody that's at Stonewall understand that trans Black women are what made civil rights happen. And if we didn't have LGBTQIA, we wouldn't have every other right as a woman that we can imagine. So we're going to say thank you to all LGBTQIA women, and we're all going to say thank you to Black women, because without that, white women wouldn't have the right to vote. And we know that unfortunately in this country, we look at certain people as the reason why we have the right to vote. Susan B. Anthony, for example, but she hated Black and brown women. So I'm going to say thank you to those that actually made it happen. I'm also going to say thank you as a immigrant woman to those that came before me, because I love this country with all my heart, but I also love my country as well. And I also love that, guess what? I speak 4 languages. So no matter what the orange troll in power says, English is not the official language of this country. Que se vaya a comer mierda, hijo de la gran puta. Okay, I can say that in 4 other languages. And I'm going to keep speaking Spanish all over the fucking place. I'm going to speak Piche all over the fucking place. I'm going to speak French all over the fucking place, because fuck that noise. And Ava, it was a pleasure to meet you. And I cannot wait to see you when you come to New York. Come to New York. And this country needs to get over their bullshit and let her come to New York. So that's my final thoughts.
Ava, as our special guest tonight and our new honorary Hurricane, Ava, what's your final thoughts for the evening?
Oh gosh. Okay. Well, first of all, I want to say thank you all for having me. You're all so sweet, and everything that you've said about me is just it's such high praise that it feels misplaced.
Never.
I gotta live up to these amazing things you've said of me. And so in replace of anything profound to say, somebody just give me a random word and I'll figure it out as we go.
Tits.
Tits. So before you go tits up some sad day and the world will have lost a shining, beautiful light, make sure that you summon all the power within yourself, everything that you are, from wherever it comes from the nipple, from the general areola area, from the milk duds underneath. I don't know enough of tit anatomy to, if you have implants, maybe the silicone, wherever it comes from, use that power to do good and to do right by your fellow sister, and live your life to the fullest, because you can't take your tits with you when you're dead. So make sure you play with them a little bit too, because that's fun and healthy.
Honestly, I can't do a final thought after that. That's pretty much the show, right? So
that's what we say. It's tits up and what, baby? Go ahead.
Yeah.
Just so you know, this content is CAN credentialed, which means you can report instances of harassment, abuse, or other harm on their hotline at 617-249-4255 or on their website at creatoraccountabilitynetwork.org. You're not certified.
What have I done?
Like you want.
This is the end cap no matter what, I promise.
Oh no.
Trust me, we're fine. We're fine. We protect content. But yeah, thank you all so much. It's been amazing meeting you. I've been looking forward to this for quite some time. So thank you so much, and you deserve everything we've said about you here. You are fantastic. We're honored, and feel free to come back at any time. Follow her at Ava Val Comedy just about everywhere on the internet there, and subscribe so you can get that show. For us, we'll be back next week with Haley Mae Campbell. And so I'm going to leave everybody with the song from next week's guest, so you can see what we're about to get next week. But until then, for Hurricane Evie, Hurricane Mary, Hurricane Abby, and Hurricane Ava, I am Hurricane Sheila Chappelle, America's ex-girlfriend, saying chin up, tits out, ladies. Good night.
Being over
I'm supposed to quit you, but something in me just can't do it. I should probably try and move on. Maybe one of these days I get around to it, but I'm over being over. Won't you come over tonight?
Can't take this pain.
Ain't getting any colder, baby, I just wanna hold you tonight.
I know we said
And goodbye, but won't you turn your tail lights in the headlights coming down my drive? Cause I'm over being over. Won't you come over? You come over. Won't you come over tonight? I'm over being over you. I hope you're over being over too. I'm over being over. Won't you come over tonight?
I can't take this pain.
Ain't getting any colder, baby, I just wanna hold you tonight.
I know we said
And goodbye, but won't you turn your tail